Hello everyone, and welcome to our newest episode on the Living Life Naturally podcast. We're so thrilled to have you with us today. And of course, I just want to encourage you women to join my Facebook group, the Energized Healthy Women's Group, and you'll find that in the show notes. And there we have some holistic conversations on so many approaches, but also hormones and menopause. So I would love to have you join me. And today I have Amita Sharma with me, and she is the co-founder of NourishDoc. And this is a global holistic wellness platform for women to manage their hormone transition from PMS to postmenopause. This is inspired by her menopausal journey, which I'm hoping we'll talk a bit about today, and working in the high-tech world. She felt unsupported and a need to bring the taboo topic of perimenopause at the workplace into an open discussion. So with her own personal experience of going through perimenopause and keeping it a secret, added more stress to the menopausal state, perimenopause, and she's on a mission now to make this taboo topic to be part of DEI, healthy equity at work for women in their 40s who feel they can't discuss this with HR or their colleagues. So Amita has 20 plus years of experience working in the high-tech industry prior to her starting her NourishDoc, and she worked as a lead product manager for companies like Western Union, HP, Realtor, House, and Walmart. And she's combined her passion for holistic wellness with digital technology to bring awareness as well as make wellness education very much more affordable. And she's on a mission to bring affordable holistic wellness to every woman in the world who's going through a journey of PMS, peri, and postmenopause. So NourishDoc has designed evidence-based and culture-sensitive holistic wellness programs for women's self and expert-guided care. So with menopause as a taboo globally, and over 1 billion women reaching menopause as a taboo globally, and over that many people, wellness for women at this stage of life should be at the forefront, which we've discussed on our podcast many times because it's something that we want the conversation to keep going to help women learn more about this taboo topic. And we are opening the curtain today, and we're going to discuss Amita's journey of perimenopause, and then we'll talk about some other things. But a very warm welcome to you, Amita. We're thrilled to have you here with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Lynn, and such an amazing introduction. I myself could not introduce myself so beautifully the way you did. So I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I'm super excited to talk about some of the things that we women feel ashamed or we want to hide it, all those things, right?
Right, right. And so I know a lot of where you've come from is as a result of your personal journey in perimenopause. So I would love for you to share a little about that.
Yeah, so perimenopause, I want to emphasize to a lot of women out there, that we never understand what perimenopause is as
Yes.
women. And we kind of always dismiss it, thinking, oh, when I hit menopause, I'm still young, right? That's what I thought. And I'm like, oh, menopause when I'm in my 50s, I'll hit menopause, but we are wrong. And that's my journey too. I started hitting perimenopause when I was 40, 41, something like that. And the symptoms were, oh my God, they were just unpredictable. Like, we know now, we don't know what to do, and they start impacting so much of your life. And so with me personally, The things that started happening was usual culprits, like you can't sleep at night, you're sweating, and then in the mornings during the work day, you're getting hot flashes, unpredictable and strange that you go not working properly. I'm thinking I'm going cuckoo, you know. I'm making it a little funny, but in reality, it was actually pretty bad because you really don't have control on yourself. That is the scary part of perimenopause. And perimenopause can last up to 10 years before a woman hits menopause. And those years of 10 years is roller coaster ride depending on what you're going to get. Every woman is different. For me, it was so debilitating that I literally could not concentrate on my work. I had to just, have something like coffee or tea or something to keep myself focused. I mean, it just kind of engulfed me all over. It was like an octopus kind of going like this, you know? And to a point that I literally could not work a full-time career and ended up quitting. I had to quit and take up some consulting jobs and take a break in between. But I did not know that this was perimenopause that I was going through. I did not even know the word
Right,
perimenopause.
right.
That's the problem for a lot of us, millions of women out there, because there's a lack of care, not only necessarily at workplace, which they don't understand, but also at your doctor's office or physician's office, because nobody prepares you that now, by the way, you're going to have 10 years of tumultuous hormonal fluctuations, right? And that's what happened to me. And I think it happens to millions of women out there, but we don't talk about it. And I didn't talk about it at all to anyone.
Right. I remember my mum going through it. She actually had a hysterectomy, but you still go
Yeah.
through a sudden menopause. And it was
Yeah.
something that we never discussed at home. And then, later in life, when I was hitting that age, I remember asking my doctor, I was about 39, and I said, I believe I've hit, of course, I thought it was menopause. Now I know it's perimenopause. And he just looked at me and said, You are too young for that. That is not possible.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole if you look at the foundation, doctors are not even taught about perimenopause, and
Right.
this is
Mm.
a recent survey that happened actually at NBC, and menopause is only like brushed for like few hours, like 6 to 8 hours in their 15 years of education. So when as a consumer, as a client, as a woman, you're going to the source of where you think you're going to get support, and they are not
Right. Right.
clueless or and what are you going to do? And that has been a lot of problem. If you look at the stats, more women have dementia, more women have heart issues because there's a lot of things, these hormonal fluctuation when they start happening, they relate to the later chronic conditions. There's a research that has been published on that.
Mm. Mm. I know one of the things that hits people that they're not expecting, and I know I've
Mhm.
talked about it before, but it's to me a very important part of it. There are actual stats now on the anxiety and
Mhm.
the divorce that follows.
Yeah.
So, do you know what the stats are on that?
Yeah, yeah. So most of us going through this phase, I would say 40 plus, right, is a 50% of us have anxiety issues as women. It's not a surprise if you think about
Mm.
it. We are so kind of surrounded by the work pressure, the family pressure, our health, hormonal fluctuations. So, I mean, I definitely had anxiety, maybe borderline depression, if I may say so. And it's not cool for me to admit that I had a borderline depression, but it's true. So 50% of us are having, and we don't even know that we're going through it, and we don't
Yes.
seek. Most of us don't seek guidance. That's the problem. And then the divorce is also another alarming fact of this. The 60% of the women who are going through divorce are in the perimenopausal, menopausal years
Mm.
because that also doesn't come as a surprise because if we keep everything kind of hushed or
Yes.
to our chest and not having open communication with the partners or at workplace or anywhere, family, friends, or whatever, it's going to kind of bubble it up in a way that you don't know.
Right. Right. And of course, it can be a very embarrassing topic to talk about, especially as you say in relation to HR in the workplace. Who wants to go to HR and say, oh, by the way, I have anxiety and depression because I'm going through perimenopause? You know, a lot of
Yeah.
times they don't even get it. They may be younger than you and they've not
Hmm.
experienced it. It's a
Hmm.
very difficult place to be because it does have an impact, especially with that brain fog. And not being able to focus on things, you know, it really can make a difference in the workplace on your work product.
Absolutely. Tech is full of younger people, 20 something, 30 something. If you're 40 plus, you're like ancient, right?
Yes.
You're like a dinosaur. Who? Whoa, oh, you were in that arena where the computer was just beginning to come. Oh, you must be, right? So it's you're absolutely right. Most of the time in high tech, if you are 40 something, 50 something, you're most of the time you're working with 20 or 20 something or 30 something,
Yeah.
and majority of them are at that age and they have no clue, and most of them are single and have no worry and don't, are sort of like nomads. They've been a nomad visa for the last God knows so many years. So it's a completely cultural disconnect, is what I would use the word, between some of the population at workplaces who are above a certain age versus the other population or the people who are going to serve both the population. So it's very important for that population to be educated to cater to the diversity of the workplace, population. That's what I would say, that they need to be educated about everything, how to handle.
Absolutely. So let me ask you another thing, because I know you're really into holistic
Mhm.
therapies. And what about when we get to this phase of life? What kind of holistic therapies are there, and what's the
Mhm.
efficacy of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, by the way, I'm not a medical doctor.
Right.
My work has been, just wanted to give a big disclaimer. My work has been talking to about 3,000 or maybe 4,000 holistic experts from all over the world and doing research. And so, whatever I'm going to say has been, I have been told by the experts. So, holistic, so there are different ways. We know that there is HRT and now there's a holistic part. And we are advocating holistic first, because holistic is, it doesn't matter perimenopause, menopause, all these terms that you're going through. You as a human being need to have a holistic lifestyle. What that means is you really need to take care of your physical, mental, emotional, social, all the well-being, right? For you to have a fulfilling life. Now, in this particular case, in the perimenopause, a lot of clinical trials, the way you would find in these medications and stuff like that. But there is enough research to talk about efficacy of, for instance, meditation. We all know meditation helps with the nervous system and the mental health. Yoga, for example, also has a lot of efficacy for a lot of issues, right? Hypnotherapy has shown a lot of promise for example, hot flashes as well.
Interesting.
And IBS, there's a lot of research for not fewer number of women, not a large population, the way you would get it on other medicines, but there is enough research. And then there's also a lot of research on supplements and herbal supplements like ashwagandha, like turmeric, shatavari. So many of these supplements have shown anxiety, help with anxiety, help with other inflammation, as an example. Then we know pelvic therapy, physiotherapy. We all know it works, and specifically the physiotherapy with the pelvic care. What they call it is the pelvic floor or pelvic therapy. They're trained in that. That helps with the libido, with the urinary incontinence. And then there's naturopathy. Naturopathy is basically taking care of all the food, nutrition, your exercise, your supplements. We know that works, right? Mental therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, we know that works. Also, there's enough evidence. Aromatherapy has decent amount of evidence. Food, we know food as medicine. Exercise, we know movement as medicine. So holistic is not just one thing. Like if I tell you, okay, start doing yoga, for instance, and you're going to be fine. Holistic is about everything together, and that's why you need to have some kind of a daily routine, incorporate everything step by step, and you will see the difference. And there is enough research that has been done to prove the efficacy of each of these things that I'm talking about. The problem is that most of the women who are not in this industry or the wellness industry do not know about it. Now, maybe there is some exposure that's happening through media on the subject of perimenopause, menopause, but really women still don't know the efficacy of all the things that we're talking about. And that's what we are trying to bring it out and make it affordable for women out there.
Right. And I think especially because at one time, as you say, I think that years ago we thought of going through menopause as we knew it. Probably didn't start till the mid-40s, but I think that in today's society, we've got more and more women who are hitting perimenopause a lot earlier. And I think it comes as a surprise to them because, in your 30s, even late 30s, you're really not expecting to go through this.
Yeah, because that is what is alarming is 10% of the women are hitting perimenopause in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
That's the data in the United States and probably true for all over the world. The other thing that's happening is that so now you're hitting perimenopause earlier. The menopause is shifting as well from being 51, 52 to mid-40s, and that's not good for women's health. So it's already happening in a lot of culture. We talked about the culture sensitivity, cultural part of being menopause. For example, most of the Muslim women hit menopause in 46, 47. So Latino American and African American women 47, 40. This data is already there. And then the 10%, like I said, are hitting perimenopause in the mid-30s. The menopause will again hit them in the mid-40s. The thing that it's not good because you're depleting your hormones few years before you were supposed to, right? You're supposed to have these hormones working for you about 51, 52 or somewhere. Now you're depleting them 7, 8 years earlier. The chances of, we know these hormonal depletion can possibly be related to osteoporosis, dementia, right? Maybe some kind of a cancers also in estrogen dominance can possibly, right? So there is a lot of data that still a lot of research has to be done, but even the heart health issues, the diabetes, all these things, because could be attributed to these things that are shifting. And that is not necessarily the women in the perimenopause. Even the young are getting their periods when they're barely 8 to 9 years old versus an age 13, right?
Yeah.
It's so why is it shifting? There's not enough research that has been done, but enough studies suggest the lifestyle that we are all over the world, the stress, the lifestyle, and the consumption of more processed food and not real food, all that is attributing, and of course your ethnic background, attributing to all these things that we are discussing.
So that's interesting. I had never thought about it from the point of view of what happens when you go into perimenopause early. So what happens then, say somebody like me, I actually had a hysterectomy when I was 39, and it was a partial. So then when I hit my 50s, I had to go get my ovaries taken out. So I kind of went through 2 perimenopausal states. So what happens to us then when we have hysterectomies, maybe in our early 40s, and then everything's just cut off, especially if it's a full hysterectomy? You're then looking at these same issues as an early perimenopausal woman would have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the research and the discussions that I've had with experts, a lot of gynecologists actually recommend specifically for early menopause or hysterectomy, HRT, hormone replacement therapy, because like we were talking about earlier, your hormones are getting depleted earlier. you probably need a boost or support from HRT. So I think it's very, very important for someone like you to should have consulted. You take care of the depletion of hormones that has happened due to hysterectomy, right?
Right.
My mom also had hysterectomy when she was, I think, in her early 40s, if I remember. And she has osteoporosis, like so
Mm.
bad, I can't tell you. She can barely walk. I mean, she's 83, but still, she's had this issue for the last 5, 6 years that I can, or maybe more actually, more than that. Now it is like to a point that she can barely walk. But I
Mm.
remember when she was in her 60s, she started having problems in her movement and lack of care that she did not do because she was did not know that it could have been attributed to hysterectomy, and of course she didn't do much care, but now to a point at age 83 she can barely walk, right?
Mm.
So it's very, very important to consult if a physician, if HRT is necessary, specifically for women who have gone through hysterectomy. You might need some hormone help.
So what happens to us? What have you found by talking to the experts about postmenopausal issues?
So postmenopausal issues are different, right? Could be different than a perimenopausal. The perimenopause, typically, I'm just saying typically, hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, these kind of things, weight gain, belly bloating, your hair, things like that, right? Most of us hate ourselves when we are suddenly, we are changed, we look different than we were. So it happens. The postmenopause is more towards really health. The chances of women getting chronic conditions become so higher because, again, if you look at the stats, 80% of the women in the United States have one chronic condition who are over 55 years old. So now you're looking at, your, oh my God, I hope I don't get any chronic condition, all the things that we're talking about, your blood sugar, your diabetes, right? Things like that. Now it can get serious from health point of view. And of course, the hair thinning, right? Hair thinning also starts happening for a lot of women who are 50s and 60s. It happens to, I think, all of
Yeah.
us, most of us, and then also around the belly, right? The weight never goes away. It just
Right.
stuck out there, right? Never goes away, and that could be right. That could be because of estrogen dominance. So you might need some inflammation that's built in. So diabetes is something that women need to pay a lot of attention. Maybe memory health. I should say that I don't want to scare women on dementia, but memory health is something concerned about the bone strength. It's very important for women to take care of their bone health if they need HRT. I don't know, but bone health is very, very important. Heart health is another one. So these issues become very important when women is postmenopausal, over 55 or over 60, so to speak, the health part of it, right?
Right.
Hot flashes typically disappear, typically, but some women I've seen, people I interviewed, they said, oh my God, I'm 55 years old, I'm still getting hot flashes. That could be attributed to inflammation inside the body. You might need a cleanse or something, or some kind of a hormonal gut microbiome changes, right? Um, so all these things become important.
So if there was one tip that you could give to women
Mhm.
who are hitting that perimenopausal stage, what would it be?
Pay attention to the signals your body is giving you. Don't ignore them. And your menstrual health. Your menstrual health will tell you when you're starting perimenopause, and right? Because the first symptom typically of perimenopause is your irregular periods. So if your periods are not on time, pay attention to it. Don't ignore. That would be my thing. I ignored
Mm.
completely. I'm telling you, I was like such a mess for so many years. And it's not that I ignored. I knew something was wrong with me, but I did not confront it. That I think that's the way. I did not confront it to really take on and say, "Oh my God, something is wrong with me." I just started experimenting myself because I felt that I didn't get support from the medical system where they were giving me anti-anxiety, depression medication, which did not want to be on. And so I just kept experimenting with different foods and exercise and all that. And I fixed myself. But do not do that is what I'm trying to say. Just don't ignore and seek help. It's very important.
Right, right. So, Amita, tell us, where is the best place to find you?
So best way is to go to our website, www.nourishdoc.com. We are releasing our platform, which is going to be super affordable for all the women within a couple of weeks, within this month, hopefully. So stay tuned and check us out, and we would love to help you.
Great. Thank you so much. It's always interesting to listen to people's journey, and I so appreciate all that you have shared with us today and for your openness with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work.
You have been listening to the Living Life Naturally podcast, where we're on a mission to inform, inspire, and encourage women to live their best life confidently, joyfully, and freely from what's been holding them back. For show notes and free resources, visit holistic-healthandwellness.com. And I'd be delighted if you'd follow us on socials to connect further. If you enjoyed this show, why not share it with your friends? If you found good value, chances are they will too. And of course, a 5-star review on iTunes is always greatly appreciated, as much as I appreciate you listening. So until next time, live life naturally and joyfully.